hopping on today just to chat a wee bit about the doula training that we run in Northern Ireland that we kickstarted in 2023. And we had a bit of feedback about some of the things that we could do to chat with doulas who are thinking about joining our course. And one of the things that was said was that it would be really interesting to get one of our doula trainees on to chat about all of the training. So we've got our lovely graduate Tracy on today. So obviously I am Tara. I make up 1/3 of Doulas of NI. And as I said, we launched our first training program in 2023. And Tracy was one of the trainees. So do you want to tell us a wee bit about you, Tracy?
Yes, so I'm Tracy Wishart. I have lived in Northern Ireland for 18 years. I can't believe that. Um, so I'm from Dublin originally, but I've lived a licorice all sorts. So I lived in Scotland for a long time as well. But I feel very committed to the community now. I feel I'm definitely, this is where I'll spend my life. So I graduated as a doula in December, which I'm very excited about. I do baby massage, I do 3-step rewind process for birth trauma, I do a little bit of birth movement, and I work in mental health as well. So lots of
Cool.
hats.
Yeah, lots of hats. So you're busy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have two little girls.
Two little girls, Maisie. I always forget about my poor children. Two girls, Maisie, who's 9, and Elise, who's coming 5,
Yeah.
and married to Pete 20 years this year. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, little fam.
You know, I actually didn't realize you were from Dublin. I
Oh, did
don't
you
know
not? I
why I
know.
didn't know that. I'm really good with accents. I love people's accents, and I did not pick that up at all. So,
I know. Well, I'm a licorice also. You get gin into me, Tara. I sound very dumb.
cool. Okay, so how did you first hear about doulas?
Doulas. I don't know how but you asked me this, and I was sitting thinking, going, when did I hear about doulas? It was after the birth of my first child, and I don't know where I saw it. I must have picked it up on the internet somewhere, or read it in a book. But I got really bad postnatal depression with my first child and swore down that I would never have any more children, which is why there's a 4-year gap between my two. It was a tricky birth but a really tricky postnatal period. And because I'm not from Northern Ireland, my village was
Mm.
very small here. So I said to Peter one night, if ever we get pregnant again, if ever I am pregnant again, I am getting a doula. And he says, what the hell's a doula? I was like, well, I'm not really sure myself, but I know that I need a woman. And I had to be this older, strong woman. I felt that's what I needed by my side when I was going to have, if I was going to have another baby. And so, yeah, I don't know how I heard about it, but it was definitely something I was getting come hell or high water. Yeah.
Cool. And then why did you decide that you wanted to become a doula?
Well, to be honest, Tara, it was never really at the top of my to-do list. I never saw myself as somebody who would do it, but I've worked in mental health for so long, and I was noticing more and more that I was getting booked for parent and baby programs and talking about postnatal depression and postpartum psychosis. And going into these sessions is what made me realize I had PND.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing these women, that once the baby was born, the woman kind of became the background noise to it. And I'm at these mental health sessions and I'm talking about looking after our mental health, but really all the focus is on the baby. And
Yeah.
so um, we lost my dad when he was 42, and I turned 42 last year. And I thought, what will I do with my year that dad didn't get?
Mm-hmm.
I just thought I'm going to do complete career change. And I took last year as my yes year.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw Anne. So Anne is another third of the doulas NI. And she was my doula with my second baby. And I saw her advertising doula training. And without hesitation, I went for that information evening that you hosted.
Yeah.
And as soon as I hung up and left that meeting, I booked you
Yeah.
because I just feel drawn to be around women and to
Yeah.
be that woman that I needed with my second birth. That's why.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
was it a career change then, or is this then something that's been able to complement what you already do?
Yeah, it has. I thought it was going to be that I would, this would be, but
Yeah.
no, it's complementing really beautifully. And actually, the skills I learned with you guys, I'm bringing into my work that I'm doing just now. And actually, I've always been a doula. I just
Yeah.
didn't know I was a
Yeah.
doula. I didn't know
Yeah.
there was a title for what I was.
Yeah.
Um, so no, it is slotted in. I also did the baby massage and I did the 3-step and there was lots of different things that I brought to my toolkit. But yeah, definitely complementing what I'm already doing.
That's a really lovely story. And then when you made the leap and you decided that this is what you wanted to do, what did your family say? How did
They
they
were
feel about
not
you becoming a
surprised.
doula?
Yeah,
Ah,
they weren't surprised, which surprised me because I always was quite a practical person, but they were going, "Oh no, that's totally you. You're so gentle and you're so soft," which was a surprise for me because I would say I'm quite high maintenance. Um, so when I said that, I had already explained to them what a doula was, thankfully, because I had Anne with my
yeah,
second baby. So my friends and family already knew about the concept. So they said it was a natural step for me.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
That's lovely. So I'm sure that just filled you with lots of excitement.
Confidence. Yeah, and
Yeah,
confidence as well. And they were like,
yeah.
you're a doula anyway. So
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
cool. That's lovely. Yeah, very good. And then so obviously then you signed up and your family were super supportive. So what did you envisage the course would be like? What did you think you were going to be doing or
I had thought about doula stuff and I thought, oh no, it would mean going to England and spending 6 weeks in England. And I don't want to be away from my young children. I don't know if I have the capacity to sit for that long in a classroom. So part of me, after the information evening with you, I had a better idea of what it would look like. But part of me was thinking it would be, I came armed with pens and highlighters and markers and books, and I was going to take notes, and we were going to be sitting, and it would be long days of just, but nothing like that, wasn't anything like that. And I
yeah.
was really excited for it to start because you sent a pre-module,
Hmm.
and that told me what it was going to look like. So when you said with the pre-module, it doesn't need to be written.
Yeah.
And my brain is mother brain, and it's so far past school and writing essays that there was the option to do it as a spidergram or audio or as a video. And that really took that pressure of it being academic
Yeah.
out of it for me. So definitely a lot more accessible.
Cool. So did you feel that the whole course structure was inclusive of learning
Yeah.
styles?
Yeah, and even then, when you get into the classroom, it wasn't even a classroom. It was a beautiful yoga studio where we all did that, like with bolster cushions and just love the option to sit on the floor or the option to move about if we needed to, and then cake and all in the background if we needed it. I just really like that the three of you have taken your styles of learning and meshed it into the program so that if you're not academic, then you can do it verbally. And if you're not
Yeah.
verbal, then you can do it pictorially. So it really is open to everyone, which really is good for me.
Well, that was one of the questions. So we did an information session there just last week, and it was one of the questions we got asked, do you have to write
Yeah.
everything? And, I was able to say no, and that
Yeah.
was very important to us when we don't want there to be barriers to anybody who wants to do this amazing work. So it's really good to see that that was portrayed in the course. So did it meet your expectations or was there any surprises?
No, it's so totally exceeded it. Totally blown away by it. Genuinely blown away by it. Because again, I thought I was going in and I was going to be this independent doula living in Antrim. That once I got my training, that was me, and I was going to be working on my own. When in actuality, and I get quite choked up when I think about it because I've always been seen as the tree hugger in my family. I've got very practical minded brothers. And so I'm
Mm,
the only girl, and I'm all like emotions and hugs and talk about our feelings. And but to sit in that room with 11 other trainees and you three who felt like you were the same as me, we
yeah,
had the same kind of foundational values. That core value is there, that we were there for a reason. That's what got me coming back every time. That's what got me excited to sit in that room.
yeah.
um and it was just so rich, real rich
And the
stuff came.
energy was very powerful, wasn't it? As
Beautiful,
you know, at
beautiful experience.
times
Yeah.
it really choked me up, and I
Yeah.
obviously with my job, you know, yes, obviously as a doula, but with my work with yoga and working with women in different capacities, I
Mm.
am very feel energy vibrations like really
Yeah.
strongly. And yeah, they were flowing in abundance on those
Yeah.
weekends. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was really,
But it also felt like everyone wanted the best from for everyone else.
yeah, I know.
Do you
It
know?
was a very
Like,
supportive group,
yeah.
and yeah, it was
Like,
really lovely. And did you find then it was valuable to be trained by us who are working in Northern Ireland, who live in Northern Ireland, and really kind of work within the system at the moment? Did you think that that was a big plus to our training course?
yeah, absolutely. Because it wasn't just that you have the local knowledge, you also have the local connections. So you're able to get all those local professionals in that were able to tell us how it worked here,
Mhm.
because it can be so different in different, even the trusts are so different. So you
Yeah.
have representation from different trusts allowed us to see how it worked, how the maternity services worked. I really like as well that you and Anne are going to be mediator or mentors for Doulas UK, because it feels like I'm able to ring you and say, I'm in the Northern Trust, and you
Mhm.
know straight away who all the contacts are for that. And there's no scrambling about and going, well,
Yeah.
you're based in London and just let me Google that, because you already
Yeah.
have it. So it takes a few steps out of the process.
Yeah.
Also, because you're based here, you have connections with all of the other doulas across
Yeah.
the trusts, which then creates a database and directory for us. So
Yeah.
yeah, hugely valuable.
That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Cool. And then so it takes a lot of determination and patience to complete the course. So we obviously set it up in the structure that we did because we wanted to give you enough time to soak in all the information, to go away and digest it, and then put your thoughts, whether you wrote them down or talked about them or whatever. Was there any times along the way that you felt it was really overwhelming or that you struggled with it? How did you feel kind of in the process to getting all your work completed?
No, I'm because I'm a mum and I work. My time is limited. And so for that's another reason I didn't want to go over and do a 6 week long thing where it's just too impactful. 2 set weekends with you months apart, a pre-module, a module in the middle, and a module at the end. There was lots of time in between that where I could sit down and do little bite-sized bits over the course of the weeks.
Mhm.
So never felt overwhelmed. Maybe felt a little out of my depth on occasion because of maybe the lack of knowledge on the maternity side. But all that took then was a text to my fellow trainees or a little email to one of the three of you, and no, never felt overwhelmed, and really nice pace. And actually, I was really excited about getting back to the weekend.
Yeah,
It
that's
never
nice.
felt like it was a job or a chore. It always
So,
felt
yeah.
quite nourishing and fulfilling. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it was kind of sad when it finished.
I was glad.
Yeah, I know. And then what was your biggest kind of learning topic through it all?
Well, okay. So for me, it was after. It was after the training and going to my first birth. Um, so you come away from the training going, I'm going to be an amazing doula. I'm going to feel so ready. And then you meet people who aren't your client, maybe who don't understand what a doula is, maybe who have bringing their own experience of somebody from the past. So my naivety has been my biggest learning curve. Going into and trying to remind myself that I'm here for the client, that I'm here for the woman and her family, and not to people please everyone else. That's been the biggest learning curve for me, and actually very empowering,
Yeah.
because I've been able to evaluate, does that opinion matter more to me than my client's opinion matters to me? And the answer is no.
Yeah.
And so I'm able to shed that, you know,
Good.
that's
That's
been my
great.
learning. That's been my
Yeah.
learning. Yeah.
And those are things, you know, it's always learning. You're always learning in this role. And I think why it is always, it's always empowering. You know, there is times along the way that can be tough, but if you're someone who likes to learn, you're always learning.
Mm.
Um, finding new people who are supportive, finding people who aren't supportive, but learning to deal with that, and yet then become empowered by the reflection then that you're having on your own
Yeah.
personality and things. So yeah, it
And
is
stepping
very
into your adulthood, it has really helped me to step into that adulthood place.
yeah.
Very
Oh. So
important.
do you feel then you graduated with confidence to be a doula? So when you walked away
Absolutely.
from graduation, yeah, that's
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah.
And you're now working as a doula.
Yeah. So just to
Yeah.
go back to that, when the whole room came in and we all sat down and we were going, oh, I don't know if I'm a doula. And Anne said, welcome, you're all doulas. And we're like, oh, and because the three of you repeated that whole weekend and you had signs up, I am a doula, you start to believe that if you're drawn to this work, you are already a doula.
Mhm.
If you already support families, women in your community, whether it's friends or family, whether it's strangers on the street, whether it's through yoga or through baby massage, you already have the mindset of a doula. This course gives you the skill set to go with the mindset. And so at the end of it, I felt like a doula.
Oh,
And
that's lovely. Yeah.
so yeah, I had my first birth. I attended my first birth on the 6th of December. I was very lucky that even at the start of the training with you guys, I had got booked by
Oh
someone.
yes, I remember. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened, but it did, and I was very excited. Um, it was a home water birth, and it was. Oh, I even feel tearful talking about it now. It's
Yeah.
funny for me, Tara, because I thought like I love babies. I would have a million of them, and I thought I'd go to this birth and it would be about the baby, and I would cry when the baby was born, and it would be all squishy and delicious, and it was not about the baby for me at all. It was
Yeah.
about this woman who was in this
Yeah.
beautiful labor land and just this power that shone out of her. It gives me tingles. The
Yeah.
baby, beautiful addition to it all. And a few days later, I got a cuddle with this squishy little baby. But it was the woman for me
Yeah.
that I can't wait to go to more births. I'm very
Yeah.
excited.
And you have another one coming up in the next few
In
months, don't you?
April. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
Really. Mm.
And just off the back of all this, what would we've had a lot of people inquiring about our course and thinking about it. So what would you say to anyone who was pondering or hesitating or kind of sitting on the fence about doing our course? Have you anything that you would share with them?
Yeah, I think some people went into the training going, if I do this training, I have to be a doula.
Hmm.
I have to get bookings and I have to be a birth doula. But in actuality, what the training has taught me is that I could be a postnatal doula. So I could support people after they've had their baby. The skills that you learn in this course can, like me, filter down into my other jobs. It's not that you get your certificate and now that's you onto a list where you get booked repeatedly. You can pick and choose whether you want to do one birth a year or two births a year. What the course does is it gives you a toolkit to be able to go and use it outside. So you're not committing to anything other than bettering yourself and
Yeah.
spending some time with some lovely people. That's
Oh, that's
so
really nice. And yeah, just
yeah,
taking it at your own pace. You
yeah,
have that, as you say, when you come into the room, you're already a doula. You get the certificate and you get the knowledge, but you
yeah,
can take it at your own pace. It doesn't
yeah,
have to be. And
yeah,
then, as you say, what you'll find is you can be a birth doula or a postnatal doula, or you might be a fertility doula, you might
yeah,
be a menopause doula.
yeah,
And yeah, it'll take you in all different directions.
yeah,
And that's what's really exciting as well as we grow, as doulas, maybe interests will go in different directions to do with douling. So it's definitely a lifelong job
yeah.
or career, and one that's lovely as well.
Beautiful course, really lovely course, very accessible.
Cool. And what's next for Tracy? So what does the future look like for you?
Oh, I don't know. I just want to go to everyone's births. I just think there should be more doulas. I don't think what I've learned is that doulas aren't precious about their postcode. They're not like, oh, I'm not going to signpost you to that because I need the work. It's the doula and the client either go together or they don't. And you'll notice that the first time you meet someone, like when you were saying that in the training, I wasn't sure, but oh my days, it does. There is a connection there. So I want to do birth doula. I want to be a postnatal doula. I really want to support around fertility. So I would like to do a little bit more learning around fertility so that I can represent and support a bit more around that. Yeah, and then just keep going. Things are happening and I'm trusting the universe. I've taken another yes here, so we'll see.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Maybe every year will be a yes year from now
Yeah,
on.
I might burn myself out, but we'll go with what we're going with at the minute.
Cool. Well, that's really lovely. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
your time. And this will obviously be shared on our social media just so that people can reflect back on and have a wee look if they're thinking about joining our course. So yeah, it's been really lovely chatting to you. And
Thanks.
I'm very proud of you and I'm excited to see what lies ahead.
Thanks, Tara.